Welcome back to the LEC. Now, if you've only just joined us, you missed BDS taking down Xayah to secure the #1 spot at the top of the standings. It's official, Sheo. Can you believe it?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of insane. We finished top 1 regular split, so yeah, I'm pretty happy right now.
And what's it like for you, given that this is your rookie year of the LEC and you're top dog?
I mean, I think people kind of underrated us, but since we all know each other, we like each other, so it's kind of easy to work. So, I mean, I won't say I supposed us to be like top 1, stuff like this, but I knew we will do great together.
Do you think the success has anything to do with the French synergy?
Yeah, I will say we have really good synergy with Adam and Nuke, so it helps, like, you speak the same language, it's easier, so yeah.
How do you stop the non-French members of the squad from feeling left out? Your poor bot lane.
I mean, they talk a lot between each other, so I think they don't really feel isolated, and we try to not talk French when they are next to us, so I think it's going great.
It's definitely going great, and the team synergy across all 5 of you looks fantastic. Let's talk about the set pick. Is that something that you've been practicing with the expectation that Olaf would appear today?
I mean, we don't really practice champ like this. It's just Adam knows his matchup, know what champs he wants to play. If he sees a set angle, he will go for it. Same for Darius, same for Olaf. So he just know how to play his matchup, I would say.
How much do you enjoy watching Adam have a Giga Chad performance like he did today?
I mean, he kinda smurf. He played against Olaf, solo killed twice, I think. So yeah, he played really good.
Now you are the top of the standings. If there's any team that you could get picked, or you could pick, I should say, to play against, given that we don't know which group you're going to be in yet, but if it was any team in your group, who would you pick to play in the group stage?
I think I would pick Fnatic, maybe. I think we can beat them pretty easily.
Even though that they're playing amazingly at the moment, you're still confident?
I mean, they have a momentum right now, but best of 3 is kind of different. They didn't really play them yet, so I think I would pick Fnatic.
How do you feel about the best of 3s? How are you going to make sure that you go all the way this time?
I mean, we just need to focus on ourselves, don't choke the best of 3, and that's it.
I mean, it sounds really simple. Oh, hello. I can see on the monitor now your teammates joining you. Hello. It's a simple celebration. It's the silent thumbs up. Guys, I don't know if you can hear me. No, they're leaving. They're leaving.
No, they can hear you.
I feel like this sums up BDS quite well. You just keep the celebrations very French, very classique, très simple. And it's
a French celebration.
Right? The French celebration. Yeah. I'm learning so much today. Oh, well, merci beaucoup. Thank you ever so much. Congratulations.
Thank you a lot.
And yeah,
thank you.
Proud Berlin. Let's hear it for BDS. They have topped the tables. It's official. So let's head over to Sjokz and the guest desk right now to talk about our top team.
Oui, oui. Est-ce que je suis français maintenant? Here we go. Swazizi. Awesome. Great interview setup they have, the remote one. I think it's like a new BDS facility.
It's pretty slick, yeah.
It's very slick.
Crispy.
It looks gorgeous. And to celebrate BDS locking first, we have a compilation of the best BDS look lives. Those are the videos that you see when they head to the studio. I don't remember.
I like the contrast, the police and the hippies.
Yeah, I haven't seen them all actually. I think they shot them all in 2 days or something.
Where did they get this plane from? Someone's missing their plane. Like someone's late to somewhere.
They rocked up to an airport and it was a complete heist from everyone.
Someone wants to escape the country and they're just, they don't have their airplane. Amazing. Fantastic. BDS locking in first place. But next up, we have Fnatic versus Astralis. Astralis, who is also fighting to lock second place or end by the top of the standings, which is crazy. So I think let's talk about them for just a second, Jamada. An insane growth, an insane development ever since they added leader to the roster.
Yeah, you know, we touched on it a little bit in the ready check, and I feel like that is kind of just the story, just adding that little bit of extra, you know, maturity, which is kind of almost a bit, maybe to the European base, a bit of a surprise when it comes from a leader, has really made the difference. I think just that extra layer of, okay, you know, when we had Deo was still, you know, effectively very early on in his career, and his champion pool was relatively limited. And whilst you would maybe think that from leader, so far his appearances on Astralis have been very, very versatile, while still implementing some of that special spicy stuff that he's got going.
I have to give props to Astralis and how good they've been at finding key players. Like when they found JeongHoon, everyone was like, who is this man? You know, he came in, did his Pike business, and Kobbe and JeongHoon has worked out fantastic. 1-1-3, everyone was skeptical because his last split in K-Kobbe wasn't too exciting. And then now, with the addition of Leader, I feel like they are so aware of what their players' strengths are, and I think Astralis probably has the identity that is the easiest to summarize out of any team. And I think that simplicity together combined with the complexity of how they play and draft is what makes them into a very lethal team.
Summarize it for me.
Just early game, start the game from level 3, pressure, find 3v3s on mid, snowball that into bottom side, and just keep the ball rolling.
And do it to perfection. That's what we've seen. And with that, they are challenging for the top of the table. They're up versus Fnatic. Fnatic, who has sighed a breath of relief after yesterday. They did it. They went from 0-4 to 4-4. They locked in their place in the group stage, but I think what was most impressive to me is the fact that they did beat G2 yesterday in the match of the week.
Yeah, you know, huge step up. I think everyone, and Trevor was saying it in the cast as well, match of the week? No way, Fnatic G2, the way they're playing. But like, honestly, Fnatic now have proven to us that they are on a very clear upward trajectory. And honestly, I'm not even sure what I can necessarily identify other than everyone's just finally playing well together. It's one of those really awkward things where sometimes you go for a bit of a rut, right? You bring in new players and it does take some time to glue together, and it felt like, you know, the end of week 2 this week so far, I think specifically obviously Oscarinin finally getting to play the game a little bit has been a game changer for them.
I think the key thing for me is just the champions that they are playing. Advienne on the melee champs, they were trying to force the range supports and it wasn't working out. I think when I think of Rekkles, he's playing Jinx, a Sivir and the Xayah. These are classic champions where he just plays the role of, you know, being that silent sleeping dragon that eventually takes over a game. I think also in the case of Humanoid, he keeps getting Azir somehow 4-5 and chanting the enemy team. In my mind, I think Humanoid is one of the best Azirs in the world. And I think that the key thing as well is just how the jungle pieces it all together. I feel like Razork is finding a level of consistency that I knew he had in him, but the inconsistency is what made it shaky, and I think that he has performed so well in all of the wins so far. And then additionally, of course, Oscarinin, I think Jackson, Olaf, that's what he should stay on, and I'm assuming the enemy team is paying attention to that, and maybe that's a pool that they're going to be attacking.
That they will pinch. We will also cover picks and bans for Astralis versus Fnatic here on the desk. So let's get a little primer as to what we may see in the mid lane. In terms of style, it couldn't be more different. You just said Humanoid could be the best Azir in the world. Well, maybe Leader could be the best Irelia. No, but a very good one.
No, that might be rookie. And
yeah, a very good one.
I'm going to reference it once or twice. Yeah, I mean, I think, as you can see, it's pretty night and day. The only real close to assassin that Humanoid's played is the LeBlanc. Other than that, it's been mostly about these control mages. Leader, you know, this weekend has been Zed plus Irelia. Will he get the trifecta in of the Yasuo? Even though it's not on the graphic, will he manage to make that triple
will he make that happen?
Work? It's very interesting. I think, again, just kind of to reiterate the point, I think the fact that he's come in and he's still playing his assassins whilst mixing in the control mages is the big thing, because I feel like Astralis were very limited. 1-1-3 likes to be very aggressive, and they all only really played like the Silas, and that was kind of about it. That could really get, you know, early skirmishes going. Whereas Leader, as you can see, quite a few picks where it's like you can, like you say, start the game from level 3. That's really what you want to do with play like Leader and play like 1-1-3.
I think the main thing is just that in a lot of these matchups against Astralis, teams have over-indexed on this idea that Leader only plays the melees.
Yeah.
And then they kind of overexposed themselves and really invited Leader to play other champions. I think this meme has gone on a little bit too far, because in the end, I think it's more about Leader's identity as a player, less so about what he can and cannot play. He just believes to counterpick the matchup and leverage that into a snowbally early game. So he cares more about having strong champs that can contest, and that takes different sizes and shapes.
Yeah, that could be a pitfall Fnatic fall into as well, but I guess it's only natural because sometimes when you see him, I mean, the Zed, it's not like it carried the game, right?
Yeah.
But still, it's something that he picked, and I think mostly his thinking, as you say, of I'm going to pick what I think is right here, and that works, but that doesn't mean it won't be a Rise, or that doesn't mean it won't be an Annie. Overall, how do you think Fnatic is going to approach this conundrum?
Ooh, I mean, to me, I feel like they're probably just going to approach it as they have throughout majority of the split. If they get an opportunity to slam the Azir, they'll probably do it. And Humanoid is the kind of player that will happily take, you know, arguably a worse lane matchup if it means he gets to play out team fights the way that he so often does, which is excellently and kind of carrying a Fnatic over that sort of damage hump that sometimes you may miss with Azir in the first like item or just before the second item mark.
I think for me, the adaptation that I would like to see from Fnatic is if they can find ways to actually pick mid 1, 2, 3. I think when teams will begin to recognize this pattern, of course, coming into the group stage, there will no longer be an Azir because it gets reworked. But in the context of this match, I think denying the Azir, denying the LB is super, super important. I think LeBlanc is a champion that works well against Leaders champion pool as an example. And then we'll have this very contest-heavy game around the 3v3 mid, and I think that's where you have to challenge Astralis.
Koi and Fnatic in shambles. The Azir won't be available for the group stage. Oh no. Well, with that, we're getting into the draft. The Bears are doing overtime. Look cute though. They can't walk in though, which is unfortunate, but it's fine. Astralis versus Fnatic, let's see. Of course, not the added pressure of still having to qualify because they both already made it, but we can maybe look through the lens of, are they going to do any damage in the best of 3s for either side?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and hey, for Astralis, this is about potentially locking second place or getting very close to doing just that. So yeah, we'll see. I think opening out for Fnatic, removing away the Annie, we see a lot of that very commonly, and I think Razork as well has lent a lot on the Wukong, and they are currently Astralis just layering in the bans immediately for them.
Just targeting everything. I wonder if Xayah will be open because it's such a staple pick for Kobbe and Rekkles. I think in the case where it is open, Blue side will definitely first pick it. I think that the champion pool in the jungle doesn't have the same level of force, so they're just targeting everything.
Yeah. Do you think with with 3 jungle bans, surely you have to immediately go for something, right? Like, 4 technically, because Fnatic took away the Elise, the Rakan's the final one. I would expect 1-1-3s Viego eventually, but like you mentioned, the Xayah is just too powerful to give up with all of these engaged junglers off the board.
Yeah, there's Viego. I know that 1-1-3 last split also played some Trundle into the Sejuani. Oh, I love the Jinx lock-in. Ignore the Caitlyn, just lock in the Jinx. I think this is the way, this is the identity I like for Rekkles. Super good to counter-pick Super as well. I'm curious how JeongHoon is going to approach this one.
But I do like that you mentioned the Trundle though, because now I feel like you've got Sejuani, the one, you know, the good 1-to-1 matchup, but also an immobile AD carry. That's the kind of lane which you could very easily go something like Thresh here, deny it away actually from Advienne and Fnatic. Thresh plus the Trundle, all of a sudden you've got setup from the Thresh and the immobile punish with the pillar. It could actually be a bit disastrous for Fnatic to pilot in the early stages, but 1-1-3 is going to pivot over towards the Maokai, which says to me perhaps they're going to look a little bit more towards the team fighting aspect of things with a champion like that.
Okay, the Jax lock-in, the denial against Oscarinin. I wonder now if he's going to match us with a Bruiser, because I wonder if he wants to play the Olaf into Jax matchup. It's good into Maokai, good synergy with Sejuani. Maybe this is a moment where Oscarinin is going to, you know, really put everything to the test here on the top side. I just wanted to just make sure, I think it's good and positive to make sure that you leave your super pick to last, to make sure that Advienne can lock in maybe a Braum, a Nautilus, a Leona, just keep him as comfortable as possible. I like the Jayce.
Yeah, I like the Jayce too. I think now for Fnatic, you're probably going to see like Irelia plus. I don't think they necessarily need to ban Zed, but at the very least, I think they'll remove Irelia off the table just to not have to deal with it in the mid lane. We've seen how Leader can navigate this matchup once, and obviously Jayce a lot stronger in lane against the Jax, so you would expect it to go up there, but just for the potential of maybe needing to shift that Jayce down to the mid lane, we could see that. But Fnatic, interesting enough, self-banning the Braum. I'm not sure what the read is here, Yamato, if you got any...
I think the angle here is they're going to follow up this Braum ban with a Renata ban, and I think the idea is that they're going to fourth pick the Nautilus. They want to keep the Jayce flex till 5th to just keep their options open and maybe invite Leader to over-index on counting the Jayce, send the Jayce into Jax, and then find an even better pick maybe in the LB on 5.
I'm so excited to see if you're right.
No, I like the read.
I can barely contain myself.
I like the read. I think it makes sense.
It does make a lot of sense.
Hold on to the Jayce flex.
Oh.
Leona
And then
instead. Okay.
maybe make leader a little bit uncomfortable, but I feel like he's happily blind picked a good couple of times. Though he is, I will say, it almost feels like a bit of a draft win, almost like you defang him a bit if you force him to blind.
Yeah.
Just,
But he also doesn't mind it.
but he also doesn't seem to care that much at all. Last ban, I guess, is going to be another top here towards
Mado's
Oscarinin.
frowning.
So I'm thinking still, the Leona is still kind of decent into Nautilus. So I believe the Nautilus on 4 is going to come in, and I'm just trying to think, okay, Nautilus is out.
They had the same
So-
read as you.
Then at this
Things
point,
interesting.
then, do you just blind the Renard, or do you feel like it's potentially still a little bit unsafe with something like the Thresh up?
It's like blind picking the Renata, you can then slam maybe a Soraka in the mix, you can play Lulu bot, like all of a sudden opens up a wide range of champions. All right, the Thresh. Okay, that's very interesting.
Interesting good or interesting bad?
I think interesting good.
Okay.
I think it synergizes well with Jinx, and just the fact that you maintain mid lane pick open for 5th with LB in the picture, I think is really, really good.
I think also when you take a step back and realize that what supports are gone, realistically, Thresh has a pretty good matchup into most of them that are still available in the lane. So I feel like just giving that safety net over to Rekkles, this is one of the few supports that does pretty well into the Thresh. So I'm very excited to see what JeongHoon's going to do with the Blitzcrank. He always just kind of makes or breaks games, right? You're either missing every hook or you're hitting everything and you're solo winning. So now the bot lane gets even more explosive with that pick down there. And that's all about what leader wants to blind pick in towards the mid lane. Whether or not he does index or over index perhaps into the mid lane mage. I said, will he get the trifecta in? I feel like it's just a hover for fun. It's going to be Zed blind.
It's going to be Zed blind. Okay.
He did win with
This
it.
could be a Sylas angle. Sylas looks insanely dangerous, can lane into Zed, has great ultimates with the Blitzcrank and the Maokai, good synergy with the Sejuani. LB works too, very safe. These are some humanoid classics. Fnatic, really, they've really stepped out their drafting game in the last 5 games they've played. I really like what I'm seeing here. But the usual recipe for Astralis with a very strong early game with the Blitz.
What do you say, or would you care to elaborate? You feel like they've really spiced up their drafting overall the last 4 games?
I feel like they've recognized the strengths of their players and they haven't overcomplicated it. Just Jayce, the carries in the top side, Razork with the usual jungle meta, and Humanoid make sure that he's playing LB, Talia, Alzi, this is what he's good at. And I think additionally the bot side, no more Kate, Lux, no more Lulu, Zeri, just play the melee supports, the supports that can take space and give Rekkles the classic champions that he can eventually get to the point where he carries.
Strong mixture as well of pick, but also being able to team fight in the mid game, I think, is the crucial thing for Fnatic. So they can definitely match the early stages, some of the early pressure that Astralis have certainly drafted for themselves. But I feel like if it gets to the straight up 5v5s, as long as Rekkles is protected very well, which I expect, you know, Advienne's going to be sitting on top of him, Lantern, Exhaust to ensure leader never gets the assassination attempts. I think Fnatic are looking pretty good here.
Fnatic looking pretty good here. That's not something we heard a couple of weeks ago, but it has to be said. They won 4 in a row now and are 4-4, already locked into the group stage, both them and Astralis, but they're still going to want to give us a show and prepare them adequately for the group stage. Time for Fnatic versus Astralis. Good job, guys.
Ladies, gentlemen, and everybody else, welcome to the Caster Desk. I am still Quickshot, he is still Guldborg, and as Astralis are setting up some early shenanigans. GB, what do you make of the compositions, and for me specifically, explosive mid lane? The AD talked about it, that's what we've got.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Honestly, I was thinking as soon as I saw this set versus LeBlanc, this is like Season 3, this is Season 4. Actually, do you even know when the last time this was played?
Checking. The last time Zed and LeBlanc played was in Spring 2020 for 2 formerly fantastic mid laners, Perks and Febivin, and it was obviously G2 versus Misfits. The LeBlanc won that game, so it's been nearly 3 years since those 2 champions have faced off.
Yeah, and also just to take it over to the support, because that's always where I would look. When I see a Thresh come in, and I'm the support that's picking into it, that's where you just say, I'm going to ego and I'm going to play Blitzcrank instead. Matchup is slightly favored as well into the Blitzcrank. You get a hook on Blitzcrank, Thresh pretty much dies. That's also why Advienne in this instance has gone for that Aftershock. He gets to be more aggressive. You go for Glacial here, there's not much you can do in it.
Can you remind me, was it Aframu that called Thresh into Blitz? Was it Hook City?
Could be Hook
Tweet
City.
at me, I can't remember. I think it was Hook City. That's a slightly older one. I don't remember exactly. But what I will say is for JeongHoon, This is his only 3rd ever Blitzcrank game. He has 2 previous games played in career. Do you want to know how they went?
Yeah, go on.
They were losses.
Oh.
It did not go well.
Okay, so we have a LeBlanc on one side, the one that set versus LeBlanc last time.
Yes.
And we have JeongHoon, who's only lost on the Blitzcrank so
That's
far. Is that
correct.
what you're setting up here?
That is
All right,
correct.
let's call it, Joe. Let's go home.
We're going to find out what happens as JeongHoon and Kobbe, we push back immediately on this first wave. Thresh stepping forward. While
Oh,
that's
this is
going on,
interesting.
Humanoid is pushing into leader Zed in the first attempted gank.
It's only
Will be
level
from
1.
The Maokai. Level 2 stepping forward. That's the flash, the root, the bramble smash back. Oscarinin is down to 100. The hammer goes away, 14 HP. He flashes and stays alive.
Oh, he gets the level 2 because he had to push on the wave, so Finn never got to get his and did knock away on Finn there from Oscar was crucial. Wave state, quite ideal now for Finn here, but Oscar does have that teleport. He's going to TP to the turret. He's going to try and push it in, and Finn then, when he gets his own TP that he has right now, he's just going to get that up towards the top side again.
If there were any champion that could sort of break a hold or a freeze a little bit effectively, those accelerated shock blasts can get to the back line, can help speed up resetting the state of that lane.
Yeah, most definitely. Now, on the top side, not a lot of cams has been cleared for 113, and he's not even going to stay here. He's going to not even take his blue buff. He's going to take a page out of the Malrung book, make his way down towards that bottom side instead. You have Flash as well on Blitzcrank leader.
Oh, the ethereal chains come out. Humanoids will run out of cooldowns though, and will be forced to go backwards. So a lot of trading in the mid lane. Leader's still got the flash available to him. He also has that living shadow as another potential escape tool. While that's going on, look, all 3 lanes are pushing in favor of Fnatic, but that is opening up opportunities for the Nyan to look for targets. The distortions on cooldown, Leader won't be able to find the opportunity. Instead, just help shove this way.
Yeah, that's the thing. 113 is just going to look for the shove up here. They should see that he hasn't picked up the blue buff yet. I think Razork does that, so he's going to move his way up towards the Scuttle Crab. He still have the mid lane priority. Finn looking at Oscar.
Hit him with the hammer, hit him with the hammer. Finn down to 200, 150 HP. Now Humanoid's the next target. Passive will proc, and Humanoid's able to escape.
Kill the clone, you get XP.
Razork's going top. Minion, shoot it, shoot it.
Oh, that's a shame. Okay.
Ultimate fail. That means Astralis will lose. That's what that means, right?
Go on. You're really foreshadowing here. Now, on the top side of the map, Razork's still around, haven't cleared out. Trying to look for 113, quite accidentally. Could just find him here, and he does.
All right, Razork will get caught out by that sapling.
Move for mid here. There's no flash on 113.
Oscar's the first one to move. Humanoid's coming through the river as well. He's being chased by Leader, who just teleported back. Finn goes forward, Mercurial Hammer backwards to the skies! And Fnatic get first blood. It's Razork with a double. Leader will throw out that Shadow Slash and pick himself up 1 in return. 2 for 1. Red
He's
buff
no flash
ticking.
now.
Permafrost available. Hit him with the flail, smack him with the ball. And Humanoid gets the 3rd for Fnatic.
They get 1 on Leader, 3 kills on Fnatic though. That's an incredible, ideal scenario for you here on the top side. 113 still so behind in the jungle. His clear on the top side hasn't come through. Finn lost so many minions on that roam, and while there's a lot of minions pushing in now into Oscar, he's going to be there to collect them all. So he's a level behind right now, but it won't stay like this for long.
It won't. I mean, that's a gigantic advantage, depending on how effectively Oscar can farm up. Gets the cannon, leap forward, drops the hammer down. Keep an eye on the minimap. JeongHoon has left the bottom lane, and he's in the river. 113's here too, sapling forward. The evade comes forward, thumbs up aplenty, and Oscar's dropped by Finn. Tower aggro is traded from that twisted advance, and that was a beautiful dive.
Yeah, it's absolutely huge because you remember that minion wave we just talked about. Oscar doesn't actually get to collect it now. 5 levels on Finn, 4 to Oscar. So that's a huge advantage for Astralis in that top side. Response comes through on the bot side instead. Razork is around.
Kobbe.
2 versus 3.
He's got that flash in the cleanse, maybe needing it. Power Fist from JeongHoon available. Minions are being cleared out. Looking for the rocket grab. I'm gonna hold on to it for now. I didn't see if it was used just a little bit earlier. If the real chain's thrown out, Guldborg, we're not gonna have a lot of time to talk because these teams are just throwing down in every single lane. But it's Fnatic that are up 1,200 golds.
Yeah, and Leader is going to be under a lot of trouble in a bit. Humanoid hit level 6 on this wave. If no one is around to back up Leader when that happens, he's just going to get killed. And he knows that, so he's going to have to forfeit another wave. Humanoid with that 1 lead he got with the kill, taking over the mid lane now on the map.
And very nicely done. So, take a brief moment here. I just want to quickly talk about Oscar before any further shenanigans break out. Weeks 1, 2, and 3 couldn't have been more different. Thanks to Medic for pointing these numbers out to me on Twitter. I straight up stole them. But week 1, 0-18-4, 10-13-23, 16-3-12. Oscar is showing true development and comfort here as the games and the weeks have played out. And I think it was the Jayce was the first game that you really stopped and went, huh, this kid can actually play. And now he needs to step up. He's still down just a little.
Yeah, let's see if you just cast a Kirsten for real here.
I didn't do it. I didn't do it. I don't have that power.
Oh.
It's twisted advance forward. Razork is level 5. Can look for that Arctic Assault. No flash for 113. Leader's making his way. He's also only level 5 and
So are the
Humanoid.
supports.
Blast cones over. Level 6 for Humanoid. Level 6 for Humanoid. Distorts forward. Chains out. Mimics up in 4 seconds time. The Blitzcrank rocket grab over the wall. Helps Astralis pick up the kill for Finn.
Yeah, we just called it. Supports were moving as well, but because they were fighting on the left side of that river, it was easier for JeongHoon to get there before before Advienne would, rather. And down towards the bot side, AD carry is just going to be farming, but that's going to be a little bit of gold back into the pocket of Astralis, trying to get back at a neutralized state of that gold.
Listen, when did we move to Australia? Because yesterday the game's all about the bottom lane. Today, our opening 2 games have all been about the top half of the
It's
map.
all upside down, isn't it?
Completely. Rekkles and Kobbe, this feels like the first time we've seen them this game. They're dead even on CS. Their respective supports have been roaming.
What year is this?
Exactly.
Okay, we have Set versus LeBlanc, with AD carries just chilling on the bot side. We're playing up towards the top side. It's very nostalgic.
Very nostalgic indeed. I feel so comfortable right now. And the question is, where will the action come from? Because over the course of 8 minutes, we've seen multiple skirmishes. And look, Humanoid shoved that mid wave, at least stepped into the river to set some vision up. Herald will be starting soon. And JeongHoon's on the step forward. Death Sentence connects. Kobbe cleanses away. Rocket grab into a fist in the face. Advienne's dropped low. 200, 100. Tick, tick. Feathers fly. Flash forward from
Oh my
Kobbe.
Lord,
Roots
Kobbe!
Rekkles, the double kill for Kobbe.
Oh, and he just sets it up there. JeongHoon's just there to get a little finesse with the hook, but it's Kobbe setting it all up afterwards, finding the flash. Rekkles did have that flash himself, but just didn't have the reaction time to actually get out of sight of those feathers.
I mean, beautifully done as we watch this replay here. I'm expecting some fancy stuff from our observers.
Yeah, so initially, great hook. Aftershock is procced on Advienne. It's not going to last for long. It's going to take some time before he flashes. And Kobbe now with the ultimate, setting it up there. Rekkles still has his, so he needs to time it. But the problem is, it doesn't get down in time. Oh, it's from every angle. There's nothing for him to do. Oh, my Lord. Okay, he could still have flashed it, but it looked insane.
That was just beautiful. I mean, that actually almost looked like an Aurelia ultimate. Like
It
Vanguard's
certainly did.
edge in terms of the abilities thrown out. Really nicely done for observers. Even better done from Kobbe. The thing is, Fnatic is still ahead. The advantages they've accrued in the top half of the map, the 20 CS and kill for Humanoid puts him as a team ahead, but it is a 1,000 gold lead for Kobbe on the Xayah. And right now, he's going to be called to the fight. JeongHoon, where's the Q? Finn, leap, E, drops the Grandmaster's might, empowers, and waiting for the next Q. Down the bottom lane, the shenanigans don't go anywhere as both sides have been able to back away. Although, Razork is level 6.
Yeah, complete Vivra control right now, but Kobbe, they just need to not step up. Good block there from JeongHoon.
Rizin already going to get the flash, the rocket grab backwards.
He pink-boarded, he pink-boarded, he pink-boarded.
Battle ball, he can't get onto it, but he doesn't need it. Razork starting to use that empowered recall, escapes with his life, and he does. Nyan cat. Where does the root land? One already secured. Rocket grab maybe up in a little bit here. Comes leader. That's Advienne. He's been caught. Berlin goes wild. The knockback from the smash as well. And it will be JeongHoon that picks up the kill. But now Rekkles is looking to get excited. Here comes Humanoid. Deathmark is thrown down and leader will just about be popped. Now Rekkles running a little low on mana. Fishbones still hungry. Waiting for Pow Pow. 113. Thumbs up in the air. Q goes up for the distortion. Can't find the sigil to follow it up just yet, and Humanoid still hunting.
Yeah, just need one more. Can dash forward, get the Q down, that's it.
6 kills to Fnatic, 6 kills to Astralis. The farm advantage keeps Fnatic nearly 2,000 gold up.
Yeah, and we're used to seeing this kind of bloodiness from the likes of Astralis, but it's very new to us from Fnatic. There's a very real reason to get excited about this team now. Rekkles is used on the bottom side, leader down here to defend, but plating will go over to Razork. Oh, JeongHoon.
Oh, what's happening next year? Razork, no ultimate available to him. We keep holding our breath.
I know.
Haven't had a chance to really dive into the numbers yet.
And the fact is, there's so many things I've been wanting to talk about. There's the Dragon setup, there's an interaction between Set and LeBlanc specifically. For now, let's just look at a replay once again. Advienne doing what he's supposed to do, block that cat from your AD carry. JeongHoon is getting the hook, and you can see on the minimap right now, Humanoid is already making his way down here, so while the play gets extended, it's just the fact that you can get the excited going for Rekkles, making sure all the HP bars are so low for Humanoid to be able to clean up when he finally comes around.
Deathmark was dropped for a little bit of time. Didn't ultimately end up being valuable in leader. No flash, no ultimate, no teammates, no support. All right, Living Shadows forwards, waiting for that to time out, and we'll just about be propped. Pretty easy kill there, just sticking around for the plates. reminder, the draw show will play at the end of today's games. Fnatic right now in a strong position, strong lead. But we haven't got a chance to breathe because look, 113 is now invading the top half. Backup coming from JeongHoon. But Fnatic are ready. Teleport's available for Humanoid, so if a fight breaks out, he can jump in.
Yeah, most certainly can. You can see Advienne is even here to shadow just to make sure if the dice comes through, he's got that lantern ready. Both supports have been very active on the map. TP comes through, 113 here as well. They decide to abandon the play.
Oh, Nature's Grasp was thrown down. The rest of the teams are starting to conglomerate. The chains won't find a target, but the Rocket Crab will. Humanoid's passive is pop. Lantern goes forward. Razork throws out the prism, waiting for the first target to fall. And it will be Humanoid picking up the kill to JeongHoon. Astralis are running for their lives. The chain just goes wide, but the shock blast doesn't. Oscar with the headshot, and Advienne with the third.
Yeah, you can see Astralis, they wanted to look for a fight with the feathers there for Kobbe, but Fnatic, they're just finding the better fights here. They get another fight in their favor.
5-0-1 for Humanoid's LeBlanc. It was the last pick. It was into the Z. The Analyst has talked about the explosive matchup, and it's Humanoid that is running away with this early game.
Honestly, this is full death ball. Not a single team has taken Drake. It's all about finding leads with the kills. What did we say yesterday? It doesn't matter if you get the objectives, if you can just kill all the enemies afterwards. Well, both teams are going for that approach in this instant. Initially, they're trying to layer this easy down on Humanoid, and it does work until the lantern finally comes out. Leader crucially died earlier, so he's only coming out of base, so Astralis is fighting a 4 versus 5, and you can see they're layering up here, so Kobbe is looking for the feathers while he dashes out with the Gale Force. Oscar finds the accelerated shock blast, and Advienne's hooks afterwards.
I mean, Fnatic just seem to be on the same page. For a team that went 0-4 to now be 4-0, looking to end the season on a 5-game. When was the last time Fnatic lost a game? Don't actually answer that. I know 2 weeks ago. Irrelevant. Right now, though, Finn is continuing to push forward. 30 CS difference and a 500 gold lead. You can see the standings on your screen. I will get to that in a second.
Well, you get caught by it just about.
Producer's a little excited for me because we haven't got a chance to breathe. I can't even build on the stakes as now Oscar's got backup. Flash forward.
Oh, that's great predict.
Connects. The kitty cat's going down right meow as Rekkles picks up the kill.
It's just the same story the entire game. Astralis looking for a play on the top side. Fnatic being there to defend it and thus outplaying it. Now members of Astralis are still fishing, seeing if Rekkles and Advienne wants to overstep. No one bites, and down towards the bot side, Humanoid picks up the turret.
Guldborg, do give me a second here. I do want to follow what the producers were saying. First of all, when we look at the standings, a few things to call out. Team BDS are locked in first. If Team Astralis win this game, they will lock in the second seed. However, it's looking very unlikely. The thing that's the most interesting for me is, if Fnatic use this lead to win the game, they could make top 4. There are scenarios in which they make top 4.
I mean, the scriptwriters went crazy this year, didn't they?
They did. Do you want to know how they get to top 4?
Go for it. Go for it.
If you want to find out how they get to top 4, you can head to lec.gg/foldysheet to figure it out. Oh,
Rekkles almost got folded there by that hook as well. But it is just going to be the first Drake of the game, Trevor. 15 minutes into the game, finally taking here. So the Drake stacking will take some time. Looking at roughly 30 minutes before we're looking at a Soul, which of course would be quite late into the game.
And I don't think either of these teams want to win via Soul. At least how the 15 minutes of gameplay is.
I mean, if Astralis can come back to do it, they probably would like it, but yeah.
Let me put it this way. Their priority would be to win via kills, I think is the inclination that we're getting right now. And I think once we do get the scoreboard back up, I want to look at this gold lead and where it is accrued for the respective players, because Mythics across the board here for members of Fnatic. 1 tower to the name. I mean, look, 400 gold in the top lane, 1600 in the jungle and mid. And I think for Humanoid, the fact that he's got that Ludens and the fact that there's a number of squishier targets, if he can use vision and find those flank opportunities, this LeBlanc can really take over the game, or at least get enough damage down for Jinx and Jayce to clean up.
Yeah, just looking at the CS from a different of the laners now, I'm always so impressed with Leader, how he's able to keep up, because Humanoid has been super solid. Finn, on the other hand, roughly 30 CS behind his matchup, and that's even after he got all the help from 113. So Oscar been doing a phenomenal job up here, soaking the pressure, waiting for his team to be reliable. And we're in a different scenario. Last game, no one could respond to Adam in a side lane. This game, it's going to be Humanoid on LeBlanc.
And what I really liked, while Humanoid was sieging that bottom inner turrets, there was a number of Fnatic wards in that western quadrant. You can see around the blue buff area of Astralis. multiple members of Astralis were showing under the towers, so while it looked a little risky for Humanoid to be like poking under tower, he had the information. He knew where his opponents were.
Yep.
And at the same time, that Oscarinin and Jayce in the top lane with the arcane buff, thanks to Jinx and Jayce in the same game, they're working to take their second tower and extend that lead even further.
Oh, you really went for that one, but it's also...
Have you heard of Arcane?
Shut up.
The Emmy Award-winning anime on Netflix? You should check it out if you haven't. I'm not a sellout, I swear.
Yep, all right. Now, top side of the map, you can even see that
Thank
the
you,
entire
brother.
vision that they had there while you keep talking to them. I'm just going to say, like, FLICKR is actually so good at playing towards the side lanes. Oscar had the vision he needed to actually push up here, but even down towards the bottom half, Humanoid, fully alone, barely any vision, was the one pressuring that tier 2, and he can do that because he's LeBlanc. So we're actually looking at an 1-3-1 composition, which we haven't seen so often, but now Razork might get caught off guard here, trying to get to the wall, but it's warded on top with a blue trinket, so no one can get to him, and Razork goes down.
I mean, those lanterns have been instantly blocked. I will give you an update. I had an inkling as well as you did. The latest first dragon of spring, this game was just over 15 minutes.
Yep.
The previous record was 11 and a half.
Oh, right, so it was quite late.
A lot later. We didn't really get a chance to set it up just because of how much action. 18 kills, 18 minutes. Razork was caught out, but it is still a 4,000 gold difference. I think the thing I want to look at is this next dragon fight. 2 minutes to go. River vision established, and the tower advantage to Fnatic. It does mean that they will have a slightly safer time setting it up and moving into the river because they can't fall back to those objectives.
Oh yeah, and also so easy for them to just pressure here. You can face check with Razork. Even if a member gets caught off guard, you have the Lantern and Advienne. Humanoid so difficult to get to. You can even bait into Twisted Advance by Wing forward and Wing back then to bring the Maokai into your team, making it a super easy way to get a reset of the Jinx passive. And now Humanoid, how much damage is 1Q just going to do? That's almost 1/4 of Kobbe HP.
I mean, gigantic damage already. There's a reason it's called the Sigil of Malice. It is causing malice to Astralis. Death Sentence to Rocket Grab. Woo! Rocket Grab just goes a little wide of Humanoid. Now Advienne's on the hunt. Death Sentence onto Maokai. Hops over the wall with the Lantern. Razork will get his Glacial Prison in just a second. Finds the bird. Kobbe will cleanse away from it. The knock up into the air, and Razork's running for his life. Those feathers are all at the choke point. Kobbe can do so much with it. He's been exhausted, waiting to call the blades backwards, and it's a trade of kills. 1 for 2 in favor of Astralis.
Yeah, that was so messy. I barely had any clue what was happening because they just kept standing there hitting each other. But as you said, Kobbe untouched in the back line. They get the 2 kills, and they might get the mid lane turret at the end of that skirmish.
If we get the replay and it does slow down a little, can you keep an eye on Kobbe's timing? I think he held his E until the exhaust wore out, from at least how I saw that live.
So the feathers gets used in the beginning initially as well, so you get a lot of the damage coming out here. He's stacking it up, stacking it up. Still waiting for it.
Still
because
waiting to pull back,
113
yeah.
Incredibly fit. And I think after here is where the first feather comes out.
Right, so they're on cooldown then, okay.
Yeah, okay, so that's why it's on cooldown. So yes, he does get exhausted. It looks like he holds it, but he's still waiting for it. Still 4 seconds on the feather. Now exhausted, cooldown, 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 exhaust goes off, and the feathers are finally there.
Yes, that was so good. Also, huge kudos to the observers. They actually turned on the feathers based on the commentary, or like showing their champion portrait. It's not something we normally do. I freaking love you guys. And of course, Kobbe loves those feathers, so they get that fight. They are now still trailing Fnatic, and the dragon is the next objective.
Humanoid needs to be careful.
The rocket grab into the static field, and the cats. Astralis are not done. They want that top 2.
And that's so huge before a fight as well. You saw there is different places that he could actually go there from the distortion. You have the W and you have the ultimate of it. But it's just JeongHoon immediately calling where he's going to go. They get the shutdown, 500 coins in the bag of leader, and they can now stack up the Drake for themselves. They do have to be careful though. Baron is up and available, just spawned 40 seconds ago, and Astralis, the only vision they have around it is in the pixel bush.
Now that gold lead that was built up, I don't think matters quite as much. We've seen the burst damage Leader Zed and Kobbe's Xayah have under their belt. Both of these teams playing sort of like restrictions off in many ways. They're both locked into group stage. They're both in comfortable-ish positions. And we're just seeing an all-out brawl. Hex Flash over the wall. Oscarinin, he's going to be forced to flash away, but he respected that hook.
JeongHoon has been very precise with his rocket grab, so you can even see it. Oscarinin not going to risk it, just flashing it once you see that it has the right direction. But still, Quickshot come out on top lane, vision control around the Baron area, very much in the favor of Fnatic right now, and once Humanoid start putting pressure on the bot side, he has that teleport. So if Fnatic wants to look for skirmishes, see if they want to use any TP flanks here to bait Astralis in on the top side and turn on them, They have the potential set up for it.
So the question I'm going to ask you to think
it's
about...
already there, it comes through.
As we see a leader being targeted, but look at the minimap. Multiple members of Astralis coming forward. Leader, he's flashed forward. He's death marked. Living Shadow out. He's now got in range of the team. The Nyan Cats are thrown down. The Glacial Prism buys some time. The teleport in from behind, and Finn's using the E to do so much work. 113 caught by the death sentence, but Razork will be the next target. Oscarinin is taken. Astralis.
Oh, that's a hook again.
Decimating Fnatic. JeongHoon with the rocket grab to turn around, and now they want the Baron.
And the entire pressure there looked like it was a play that was set up for Fnatic's success, but Astralis, they're turning it around immediately. They pick up the fight, they pick up the skirmish, and they will pick up that Baron.
And listen, there is a lot of intensity here from Guldborg and I, but we are matching the game. And I was going to ask you a question about scaling, about how these team comps do it 2 or 3 items, because that's where we're going. But at the moment with Baron, Astralis may have just arrested control.
Yeah, initially, there's just not CC enough here to lock leader down. Ultimate come out later in a Tome of Desperation, but that's where it's just hitting. Well, initially I thought it was going to be 1-1-3, but it is actually JeongHoon. Finn came in with his flash, or TP, and then have eyes on JeongHoon now. Look how he catches up Rekkles around that wall in just a bit to make the fight even more extended there. Absolutely beautiful, setting his AD carry up for success, and Advienne, well, just honorably dying with his AD.
And I think Rekkles had his flash available for that fight, got hooked out. I don't think it would have made a significant difference. Maybe could have been a nuisance in the Baron, but now the lead is gigantic. I will ask the question though, because I think when I look at Astralis' comp, when you see the mobility options, the Feather Storm, the Death Mark, the Living Shadow, Leader and Kobbe have ways to dodge some of that burst damage.
So it's going to come down to the fact that there's a lot of pressure on Humanoid here as well, because you can't just traditionally front to back here, because when Kobbe is this far ahead now, they're just going to win it. Humanoid needs to come in here, play the distortions, QW or QRE, see if you can poke him down, see if you can bait the ultimate, and then you kind of play, it's not necessarily a poke LeBlanc, but you're going in and out of the shadows just to get them further and further down. It's a playstyle that, for example, Sheo has been incredible on, and Humanoid himself on LeBlanc. But at this point in time, when you have Baron, when Astralis starts sieging up, when they start getting the control of the vision, that becomes really difficult.
I love you say Humanoid looking from the shadows, because he needs to step out to land those chains onto his targets, lock them down. Humanoid can control the perspective of the fights if he can use vision to his advantage, but he needs to strike from the darkness. He needs to surprise his enemies. And right now, the vision is just not in their favor. Yeah. I mean, pushed all the way back in a turret so down. I want to be a little cheeky and look at damage dealt this game. Kobbe has just exploded. And Astralis, I want to remind you, if they win this game, they lock top 2. BDS #1, Astralis #2. What freaking world are we living in?
Honestly, feels like a fever dream. Can't lie. And now Astralis still with Baron, pushing in mid lane, leader down the bot side. So they're going to shift the pressure from mid lane down to bot in a bit, take care of this tier 2. And the reason for this is just so that members of Fnatic are occupied in the mid lane. They get the faster tempo. They can be on tier 2 first, and they can then take it down.
All right, tower's going to drop. This is the 6th of the game. The gold lead is now swung in favor of Astralis. They are up 4,000. They were down 5,000. Now they're up 4K. That is a 10,000 gold swing of control. Fnatic will at least get themselves that inner top turret. And I think that late first dragon could be contentious. However, again, both of these teams have shown they want to see hero, kill hero. That's how they want to win the game, right? It's not about the objectives.
So the objectives is like the bait. You put it out on the map, and the animals, they just come crawling for it, and that's just where they start fighting. So you can see that happen here again. Baron's going to fall off in a bit as well, but it is going to be there in time to just let Kobbe push in this mid lane wave, get control of the Drake area. You can pick it up if you want to, or you can continue pushing in mid, use the pressure that Finn has on top side.
And 3 items completed for both Leader and Kobbe, right? So Tiamat Cleaver, the Prowler's Claw, BT, as well as the Gale Force and the Quick Blades. So Rekkles is a full item behind. I mean, he's 2,500 gold behind, so that is why. And that means that this dragon should be uncontested. I don't see Fnatic going through the darkness, stepping out of the vision, especially because they have to deal with the Blitzcrank hook as well, so the threat is too high.
Yeah, they see the reality for what it is right here. They understand that there is no way for them to actually venture out here. It's like Lion King, don't touch where the light is currently not. And so Oscar now, seeing as they take Drake, can finally push in topside, buy them some extra time because it takes 1 extra wave that Fnatic or Astralis has to take care of. Actually, a lot of members of Fnatic right now.
So Finn's in trouble.
Towards the top side here.
Finn's been caught off. Flash available to him. TP available to him as well. That's literally 3 members immediately. 4 members coming soon. 5 as well. Distort forward. Ethereal Chain. Counter-strike not enough. for Finn. So that will be Fnatic getting some golf claps from Berlin. And I'm waiting to see if someone can pick. By the way, I missed the fact that Leader's in the bottom lane.
Yeah, no, Leader's still down towards the bottom lane, just going for that split push. But that was a really nice pickup from the side of Fnatic, just dodging out on the vision to catch up on Finn, and no way to actually cross-map it. Leader didn't have to wait fully pushed in so he could actually take care of the turret. And this actually slows down the tempo of Astralis just a tidbit, which also means that now with Finn dead for 20 seconds, still 1 minute on the Baron, that's where Fnatic can try and leverage the fact that they have a man advantage to get some deeper vision.
So what is happening here? Fnatic looking to challenge this, but they might be walking into a trap. They might be walking into Astralis, who are waiting in the darkness. Nature's Grasp is available. Rocket Grab is available. Flash, Rocket Grab is sidestepped nicely done. Death Sentence connects to JeongHoon, but he stays alive long enough to get away. The heal keeps him up. He's finally taken down. It is Razork that picks up the kill, but at what cost? The Battle Pig is down, followed by Advienne. The feathers fly, and Kobbe is blown up. Oscarinin obliterating Kobbe on the front foot.
Humanoid still going.
Humanoid's trying to find the target, needs the hourglass to stay alive. Fish bones and the zap not enough. Finally the shot blast does Fnatic win the fight 2-3.
He might have been a liability in the first week, but Oscar now coming up clutch, being the backbone in this team fight. Beautifully done by him, finding Kobbe on an overextension, and on the back end of that, another kill, buying Fnatic time into this game, if not a small advantage.
And you can see how crucial each individual ability is. That Rocket Grab hits, Oscar is not the one that can clean up the end of the fight.
He's definitely not. Now, JeongHoon getting hit by himself here, everyone turning onto Razork, and now Astralis feeling themselves after they get another kill, not respecting the fact that he does so much damage. Rocket Slam comes out, good disengage immediately, and then it's all about playing with the range. Rekkles is excited, Humanoid is getting the damage down, and then it's just the accelerated shock blast at the end of that.
And where does that leave us in terms of gold and kills? 16-16, 1,000 gold separates these teams. Remember, each squad
Leader's down
is at a
towards the bottom
5,000
side. He does have
gold
teleport,
lead.
and it will have to be expended here.
Level
Fnatic has
16.
started up the Baron,
Ooh, Guldborg teleports come in.
and it's just great. They just bait the TP, now disengage, might even look for play.
Death Sentence lands onto Finn. His counter strike is needed. The prison goes wide. The Rocket Grab catches onto Razork, and Fnatic are not near. Humanoid's going to be late to the party. Astralis have got the kill. The Nine Cats are flying forward, and Finn, who was the first target, stands up too. Rekkles, no flash, no ghost. Finn buys some time, but Rekkles is split from the rest of the squad. That's a double for leader. Oscarinin will ride the lantern out, but I think JeongHoon's Rocket Grab may be up in a moment. And Fnatic started the Baron. Fnatic started the fight, and it's Fnatic that lose it.
They still have the poke though. They can still play around Humanoid with the sigils. They can still play around the accelerated shock blast. That's 4 pink wards just dropped around the Baron area. They want to make sure that no one get vision of this. Now Fnatic still stepping up. Baron almost down to half HP. Leader.
Deathmark is so good. Shadow Slash is out. Oscarinin almost gets 100 to 0. Baron is down to 2,000. Humanoid's looking for JeongHoon, and he gets him with the sigil. But the Baron is secured by Kobbe and Astralis. They will happily trade a Blitzcrank's life for a Baron buff.
And this Baron is just the same story as the earlier one was. Fnatic looking for a fight. It looks good initially, but then the overextension comes through. Razork ultimate, go wide, right into a Blitzcrank hook, and at this point in time, games, or rather fight, already over for Fnatic.
Fantastic play. I mean, look, as this fight continues to play out, Astralis get their second Baron, but Fnatic fended off the first. Can they keep doing that? Can they balance out that gold lead once more? Because it feels harder and harder as the game goes on.
Yeah, most certainly. I think they still have the tools for it, but they need to be very meticulous about it. For Astralis, need to take a breather as well, not overforce it. It has been a very tense game. Communication can get a bit messed up at this point in time. With this Baron buff, need to have a good plan of what their next game plan will be. And for now, it looks like they want to set up the play around Drake.
Guldborg, the most amount of kills in a single game this spring split was 45. And
That's
across
a lot.
both teams. We are currently at 35 this game.
Leader
And
force a
I
flash.
will not accept this game ending unless we break that record, okay? There's no ways I can tell the teams this, but that's what I want to see. And it looks like Fnatic may want it too. 3
Looks like
seconds
they're
for the
hearing
Drake.
you.
Razork is going to jump, trying to back up Humanoid, who is the target. Kobbe will drop him. Remember, Razork started that fight, went all the way forward throughout the prison. Astralis have the answer. Now they're in the river. They have to deal with the poke, but it does look like they have control. How bold are Fnatic feeling?
Yeah, look at Finn around here. He's sleeping around the area. He does have a pink board if he wants to flank, but he's actually just looking at the bottom, inhibit the turret. Seeing as Oscarinin goes back to defend it, he drops that plan and they get to Drake and they can set up for their next siege if they would like to. Looks like they need a reset after that skirmish.
Can I just ask him to zoom out and look at the scoreboard here? 113 is 2-6-15. So he's involved in 17 of the team's 19 kills. JeongHoon, 0-4-16, 16 of his team's 19 kills. And there's 15 follow-up there from Kobbe. The game has really been played around that trio. Obviously, Finn and Lead have been playing the side lane, so they're less involved. But almost everything kind of starts and ends with the Maokai, the Xayah, the Blitz. 113 Kobbe and JeongHoon, and they're having a phenomenal performance, which is why their team is still maintaining control. They're 4 minutes away from the Mountain Soul. And you combine that with Jax, the ultimate, Maokai and Blitz, and
Oscar,
good position to be in.
Collapsed on here. You do have teleport. You have no flash. JeongHoon coming for the long flank. Leader just across. Have you overstepped? You're welcome.
Looks to be the case. Death Mark, all the shurikens fly. Rocket Grab may not even be needed. So Oscarinin is just chunked out. That is not your lane. That is not your rift. And that means Astralis now have a man advantage with Baron for another 10 seconds. So I think they'll just about time out as they hit the inhibitor turrets.
Yeah, the thought process of Oscar there was, let me push out this wave as long as possible, just so I can buy my team more time, more space. Unfortunately, goes for one wave too deep, and Astralis is quite quickly there to punish it. Now in a 4 versus 5 situation, how do they want to play it? Leader still has teleport, so he's up towards the top side, answering a wave. Humanoid just pushed in. 4 members down towards the bottom. Versus 5, now the Humanoids are joined. JeongHoon looking for the hook, doesn't find it.
This is so well done by Astralis. Leader's gonna catch and push the top wave. The inhibitor's broken. That teleport has been with him for a while. He's got a 40 CS lead, a 3,500 gold lead. He's got a 2-level advantage over Humanoid. And despite Humanoid being 5-0 to start this game, Astralis have found the skirmishes and the side lane pressure to enable and unlock this Zed, who is now looking to get the damage down. Deathmark without a lot of follow-up. Almost all was needed to kill Humanoid. The flash forward, the ethereal change, the backup from Fnatic. Leader will get taken out by the Super Mega Death Rocket. 38 kills. We're 7 away from tying, 8 away from setting the kill record in Spring Splits.
Yeah, tense between Humanoid and Leader there. As you can see, as soon as Humanoid goes in there and he gets ulted, he E's behind him, because no matter what, Zed will always come behind you. That's why Leader is pressing his W as soon as possible, so he'll not get hit by the chains. And if those triple shurikens would have hit Humanoid, he would have probably gone down. But Humanoid feeling himself this game, just flashing forward, and Rekkles, Super Mega Death Rocket. That's our game.
Oh, what a great animation.
Oh, he has a face? I've never seen that.
What do you mean he has a face? He has a face!
It's like a metal
You
helmet.
are one of the smartest people I know in League of Legends. And the statement when you see that is, he has a face. What did you think
I've
was
never
under
seen
the mask?
I don't know, shadows? I don't know.
My
Some
words.
hidden dark pact he made. You gave up your flesh, you know. Okay, whatever, back to the game.
Leader's face is plastered all over the kill scoreboard. 7, 4, and 5. Him and the rest of Astralis looking to close this out. So they've got control of the Rift. They've got supers in the bottom lane. A minute to Baron, 2 minutes to the Mountain Soul. And a pool 1 confirmed seed if they pick up this win against Fnatic.
And I just can't believe we are actually going to come down to a soul fight. Like, when we started out the game, how late it all came.
15 minutes, the latest first dragon.
It is definitely going to be interesting. Finn pushing pressure on the top side. Astralis trying to facilitate that with some vision. And not only that, also some of the saplings just aid that with the pressure that Finn just put in top side. It's going to have to be responded by some of the solo laners. And when that happens and Astralis comes on reset, that's where they start clearing out the vision around Drake.
God, I hate cats. Both that one and real life. I will say though, look at the item differences as we're setting up for this final fight. A full item ahead for Kobbe still, and a 2,000 gold lead. Full item ahead for Leader still. So the damage disparity for the major carries in favor of the bottom. However, Oscarinin is obviously significantly ahead of his opposite number. So those accelerated shock blasts need time to set up. I just don't think Fnatic have the vision or the time to get away from the Maokai, the Jax, the Zed that will be jumping in their faces.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be difficult now. Even Astralis, knowing that there's no blue trinket, Rekkles also just used his ultimate to get it. They're just going to start up the Baron. The Feather's going to do a shot on the Baron if he wants to call them down. Another hook from JeongHoon.
It was beautiful, and it's going to be enough to pick up Razork. Oscarinin will be the next target as Leaders jumped in, looking for another Advienne by some time with a death sentence, but it simply does not matter. Astralis find 3 quick kills at 42 in the game, an exposed base, and they're going to push for the Nexus. They're going to push for that pool 1 seed.
They're going to look for it now, pushing in down towards the super minions here. Got 2 of them coming. Humanoid still around. Rekkles looking for that recall. 2 versus 5. Don't think this is going to be the one where they get the base to face pop in. Humanoid still getting attacked on by Leader and Finn.
Fnatic's 4-game winning streak is about to be drawn to a close, but it was enough to get them to groups. Astralis will send a message that the new kids in town are to be feared, to be respected, and not to be doubted. And for the regular season, your 2nd seed will be Astralis.
You may not like it, but this is what peak European League of Legends look like. BDS and Astralis at the top. Come on, boys. Take a bow. You've most certainly earned it.
Berlin, make your way down to the floor. Give these players a high five. They have earned it. They have surprised, stunned, and shocked. And now, it'll be up to BDS and to Astralis to silence the haters and show up in a best of 3. This is step 1. Congratulations, I give you your flowers for the regular season. Now show me the depth and show me you can surprise the teams that have traditionally shown up in best of series.
But I actually think that I'm quite hopeful for these teams. I think they've both shown good drafting, BDS specifically, also Astralis, finding good ways to leverage how they want to play the game, being a bit more creative, being a bit more aggressive with some of the picks that they're coming out with. Yamato said it earlier on the analyst desk. They have that stylistic quite defined already. Yeah. And I think if you can expand on that going into the week breaks, then starting on with the groups, they're looking scary.
JeongHoon's Blitzcrank was fantastic.
Absolutely
He's one of the
great.
nominees for Player of the Game at LEC on Twitter. Leader, Kobbe, and JeongHoon. I'm voting for the observers. They're my players of the game. Well done indeed. But for Astralis, they lock in that top 2. That is a crazy turn of events. Very excited to see how it pans out. Fnatic will make it to the best of 3s, right? Now seeding will come into play. If you want to find out exactly how the results will impact it, lec.gg/folder sheet. With the 3 games coming in, 6 results, Mad Lions and Heretics. Which one of them will make that 8th and final spot? That's what we'll find out later today. But for now, it's going to be looking at the top of the table. I mean, congratulations to Leader. Come in. He is a real threat. He's been hard to contain.
What a redemption story.
Fantastic redemption story. And also getting a chance to, again, silence everybody in the best ofs. GB, that does it for us this weekend. We're going to head on stage with Frankie standing by with Leader.
Thank you very much, guys. Leader, the first thing you said to me was, that was a rough one, and yet you got the win, and what a game. Why was it rough, though?
I think we had a bit of too many oopsies in the early games, so it was a bit rough, at least from mid-top perspective, but bot lane got a lead 2v2, so they kind of stabilized it, but it was really rough for me, at least.
Was that because of the LeBlanc?
It was, I mean, he played a good LeBlanc, and it's a good counter into Z pre-6, especially if our jungler is always showing into top side, which we were trying to gank the Jayce. And I think we misplayed. Finn is sick, so he's not feeling too good today. And apparently there were some misplays happening in top side, and then we got killed again in top side and again, and then it was a bit hard.
So how did you get things back on track?
Obviously, with our bot lane being so far ahead, and actually, honestly, this game is a blur for me. I don't remember anything from this game already. I just know that early was rough, and then we just farmed, and then I was there, and I was here, and then we suddenly won.
What happens to the team then when you're expecting to win and you do have your backs against the wall? Do you go into this flow state that you seem to be describing?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it feels nice to be top 2 at least now. I think we're secure top 2 now.
You have indeed.
Yeah, so that is really, really nice, right? But it's like we win this game and it feels like we can honestly win any game if we win a game like this. Even though it doesn't look so rough from the outside, I would say. It was really, really rough in-game for at least our top side.
Leader, remind me, how many days did you have to practice with the team before you started actually playing officials on stage with them?
I think I actually only had like 10 or 8 days or something, but I was not in the house, neither was Kobbe, because he needed a much-needed break, and I wanted to appear into the gaming house as well with him. So, like, actual proper practice, we had like 5 days or so, I would say.
So, given that you only had 5 days, the fact that you have now locked that all-important second spot, I mean, well, you've got to be satisfied.
Of course, it's nice.
I want to ask you as well. We've got teams loading up on stage, and Berlin's very excited. But I'm excited to ask you about JeongHoon. Just watching him in team comms, he seems like he's incredibly vocal. Just how instrumental was he for your performance today?
He's one of the leading forces in our drafts, I would say. He's really, really outspoken in draft. He has his own ideas here and there. That's why sometimes drafts can be really, really hectic as well, because one day we agree on something and then the next day he says, what about if we do this? And then it's like, yeah, maybe. And then we like sit more, you know, and keep talking. Obviously, like I look at JeongHoon and both 1-on-3, like as my little brothers. That's how they're acting at least. They're taking criticism really, really well, and they're improving at a rapid pace.
And the both of them, their assists today were instrumental in getting you that #2 spot on the standings leader. Thank you so much
Thank you for having
talking to us. Congratulations. We'll see you in the draw show later today.
Thank you.
We are going to head to a short break. But as you can see, we've got two teams hungry for another win on stage behind me right now. So who will you be rooting for? Let us know in the chat, and we'll see you after the break. SK or Team Heretics?
Rocket grab into a fist in the face. Advienne's drop low, 200, 100, tick, tick, feathers, fly!
Oh, it's from every angle. There's nothing for him to do.
Flash forward from Kobbe, Roots Rekkles, the double kill for Kobbe. Put in from behind, and Finn's using the E to do so much work. 113 caught by the death sentence, but Razork will be the next target. Oscarinin is taken. Astralis
Oh, that's a hook again.
decimating Fnatic. JeongHoon with the rocket grab.
On the Baron, if he wants to call them down, another hook from JeongHoon.
It was